taking a stand. And they also had a journal, which was recovered, where they were writing a story like where they're a group of friends going out and they're set out to be heroes, where they were going to defend the Muslim faith and they were going to defend, the honor of Muslims. And we don't know exactly what they were thinking. I would think maybe it had something to do with the Afghanistan troop surge or something that made them think this is time sensitive. I can't even take my final. I need to go now. And of course, they're arrested and we know where they are today. And I was reading an article in New York Times called, I believe it's called The Jihadi Next Door. It was about a white, half Arab, Muslim man, I believe from the Midwest, who is now in Somalia, and he has become the youthful face of Al-Qaeda, allegedly. And he appears in videos, in propaganda videos, with his face exposed, and he talks about his struggle. And when I was reading the article, I found a comment by a user, and I thought it was really interesting. So this was a comment. This is where boredom meets teenage testosterone levels. A news photographer once commented that many of the wars he was covering were being fought by young men who prefer the romance and valor of war to other less glamorous pursuits in agriculture or industry. Ask most teenage boys whether they want to wear a smock and play servant to fast food or big box shoppers, or carry an automatic weapon and strike fear into the hearts of all they encounter. And we even live in a culture of violence. We grew up on G.I. Joe, and now some want to be Jihad Joe. And also, we play Call of Duty, we play Modern Warfare. And I was joking with one of my friends. I said that there's a map called Karachi. It's a city in Pakistan. And I said, this looks nothing like Karachi. And he goes, give it 5 years, it'll look like it. Because it looked totally busted. But that's how bad things are. And young people, young males especially, and I'm not saying females can't be radicalized, but they're at risk. And what I tell them is, look, you live in America. If you think, and we know that if all this oppressive action is stemming from here where we live, and we have the right to speak up, you're living in the belly of the beast. Do what you can in the best manner that won't negatively affect your community or the growth of your religion, and confront as much as you can that's available within your means. Thank you.
Just wanted to add, having said that, by Azeem, by no means to justify the many killings that have taken place in the name of fighting against occupations. Because the majority of those being killed in Iraq, for example, are Muslims, killed by Muslims. And so it's not justification. Just what I like to say is that as Muslims in America, I think we must constantly remind the government that you need to re-examine your policy out there. Compare the killings that taken place during the Bush time and Barack Obama's time. And also, when Barack Obama sent more troops to Afghanistan, what happened? Just a few days ago, how many students were killed in the name of fighting against terror. So I think the government should take into consideration seriously that they are also fighting against perception. They're also fighting against understanding. And if they present themselves as an occupying force, I think that will be a problem. But again, without justifying that it is okay to kill innocents in the name of fighting against the occupying force. I don't know why, but I think this is our responsibility. It's part of our responsibility to let them know that yes, we are here. Stand up clearly against terrorism.
And if I might add, another news outlet to pitch, Professor Adam Carroll is also on this news outlet. WBAI 99.5 is at least a news outlet that provides some of that kind of education. So you can recommend to your family members, you should listen to the shows on there, because Democracy Now!, for instance, tackles a lot of these issues on a regular basis, and you can get them on podcasts. So I send those links around to people that I know have questions, and I say, here's the thing you were asking me about the other day, and I send them a link, so that it's not on me to do that kind of work, because and also on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. there's a show by the Muslim community that's addressing a lot of these issues.
Also to the media, and I wanted to know, post 9/11, all these terms arised in the media, like Islamic terrorism, Islamic radicalism, Islamic fundamentalism, and I just wanted to know where these words came from, what they mean to non-Muslims and Muslims, people watching the news, and what we can do to combat these words.
You missed Islamofascism, so that's my favorite. It came from Steve Emerson, Daniel Pipes, Michelle Malkin. It came from the right-wing people that wanted to describe Islam and put a label to what's going on. And basically, it goes to talk about anybody within the Muslim community talking out against foreign policy. That's Islamic radicalism. Whether you have the students at UC Irvine protesting the the Israeli ambassador, that's Islamic fanaticism. So these are, going back to what I originally talked about, the larger issues at hand that these folks in the right wing have put it into the mainstream, and it went from Fox News to NBC to ABC to utilize this terminology to anything to do with Islam or anything to talk about oppression of Muslims, whether it was in Palestine or Chechnya or Kashmir, can be labeled with this terminology. And unfortunately, the Muslim community comes back and starts using the same terminology that the oppressors are using for them. And this is the real state of what's going on. It was done long before. Steve Emerson was working long before 9/11 happened, and Daniel Pipes they're all very much still, Rita Katz, the whole group of these people, Evan Coleman. This is list by list the names of people that determine the terminology used against Muslims.
I just want to add Bugs Bunny. If you guys remember the Bugs Bunny cartoons and you look at images of Arabs in those cartoons or in the Elmer Fudd cartoons, I mean, all of this, it's colonialism. That's where it comes from. It comes from those who occupied and studied and created our definition and our identity, and then disseminated it, saying this is what an Arab is. An Arab is violent, an Arab is lazy, an Arab is ignorant, an Arab is oppressive.
Yeah, and I was looking